So could you please tell us your name and the official name of the building or property on the City of Salmon Arm's Heritage Register that we're talking about?
So Phil Wright, past president of the Agriculture Association. I first joined the association in the early 80s. Vice president and president of the association. Our aim in life was to put on the annual fair, and it's been going. The first one they had was in 1897, and then during some of the war years they didn't have it, then it was revised again. And the land we used to own, I think, right up to Shuswap Avenue, that whole section that they call the field. And then that was let go, and they've moved around different spots. We had where the Salvation Army is now. We had a drill hall there that used to have exhibits in that as well. Then it burned down a few years in the 70s, I think it was. So we had to put the exhibits in the new Jackson School cafeteria, which has now been torn down, and the school office is there now.
Right. Okay, so it's the fairgrounds, and the association was responsible for
maintaining the grounds, and so different groups would come and want to rent the grounds and have their shows there. For example, Southern Interior Dressage Association, CETA, had 2 horse shows there a year, but they have dressage shows. Earlier on, there's also some jumper shows going on. The Roots and Blues, when they came along, they put on their show also in August. It was also used for church revival meetings. Demolition Derby was really big back a few years ago, since they had one this last year as well. And they also had the Salmon Arm Rodeo Association also helped with some of the panels and getting the grounds ready for competitions, and that was run for a number of years. And then there was a local pushback against cruelty to animals and that sort of thing. So we were not really a rodeo town, not unlike Falkland or Westwood or Williams Lake. So that the Rodeo Association died off.
What initially drew you to working with the association?
Well, I think I was a 4-H member from Silver Creek. But don't laugh now. Silver Creek Potato Club. So we grow all the fields and netted gems and showed them off. Potatoes were a very big industry at Silver Creek and Yankee Flats. And there were several hundreds of tons were produced through the marketing board. And so that was out there. We were in the potato club. We also had a chicken club. There was a dairy club and a beef club.
So you were
actively involved, if you like, through my salad days.
Your salad days. So at your time working with the association, what changes, if any, were made to the fairgrounds or the buildings there?
Well, we added some of the new buildings. The old ones were some of the original horse barns built in the late 70s, started to rot down. And so we got grants from the federal government and Western Canada Finance Corp, they were called, to replace some of the buildings. And the new beef barn, dairy barn, was built to sustain the involvement of 4-H dairy, 4-H beef, and open beef. So we had a very large population of those shows. On the north side, we adapted some of the buildings there for rental and storage for our own use. But we have a dog agility program going. The club leases from the fair board, and a ballet studio that runs in the winter months.
And has any of the land been sold off, or is it all still the same? lot sizes and such.
It's about the same amount. It hasn't been sold off. No, we leased. That was the only way to get the extra acreage.
Mm-hmm.
And we had purchased the old ice hockey arena. I think we had used it for about 20 years. We've since sold that back to the city.
Mm-hmm.
So we own about 3 acres on the north side.
And you're saying there's decisions being made now about whether for the association to keep maintaining things or to give the responsibility to the city?
That's correct. So the cost can be met by all the user groups and the citizens of Salmon Arm, rather than just a small club that keeps the things going.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unlike the other park that was given back to the city was Clahani, which is out in the South Canoe. Have you ever been out that far yet? Okay, venture off the highway. South Canoe. And the community association maintained that for a number of years and found again that they just couldn't continue. So that was getting back to the city. Mm-hmm. And they have pickleball courts there, and tennis courts, and 3 ball diamonds, I think it is, and a batting cage, and a very small dog park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen any change over the years in like involvement or interest in the fair?
I think it's been about the same. We've lost some older associations that used to really support it, like the Women's Institute. Because each little area, we had the Salmon Arm West Women's Institute, we had the Silver Creek Women's Institute, we had the Hull Arm one, and they've all just sort of stopped because they've aged out. So that's been a blow to us really, because they were really a mainstay, and they help support farms and the exhibits for every year.
What words of wisdom would you share with people thinking about taking on like a responsibility in an association like this, caring for such expansive grounds?
Well, it's a wonderful challenge for if you're at all interested in putting on exhibitions or shows. So you have to be quite sharp with management. You have to be very astute with budgets. It's like running a whole firm. It depends on what type of board you have, whether you have an advisory board or a working board. You make contacts on that board. There's folks from the whole cross section of the community. Professional accountants, we have builders, bankers, we have horticultural people, farmer people. So it's and your common desire, purpose was to put on the show, and so that sort of coalesces and pulls you together for that. So you can sharpen up any sorts of skills you like to have. If you have any sort of people management skills, that's really important. Advertising, computer skills. Yeah. So it runs the whole gamut.
Wide variety, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you had one word to describe the fairgrounds, what would it be?
I guess nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
I think, yeah, it's been a part of the community, as I said, for so many years. And you have the little stories of the ladies trying to win this year the Red Runner Bean Contest. I'll get you next year. They come in with their corn stalks 12 feet or 13 feet high. Yeah, and it just brought, and the reason that it was so successful is that it was a meet and greet. People would come, we had to provide a lot more sitting down spots, benches and things like that. Because they could hardly walk 2 or 3 steps and say, oh, hi, I haven't seen you since last year. How's it going? Okay, stop and talk. So that was the glue that really pulled everything together. And they might talk about, when I see my exhibit over there, that sort of thing. It was a community coalescence.
Nostalgic is a good one.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's all my questions. Did you have anything else you wanted to add for the record?
I think that when I went to the Royal in Toronto, it says the country comes to the city sort of thing. Well, here we're all sort of countryside. We don't need to do that big push like that. Because the different clubs here really will find something in the fair, or they'll want to produce something to do there, like Lego. It's been a big, was our latest one, and that was wonderful. That involved kids of all ages. It sparked something. So if people with a particular interest would come. The Spinners and Weavers have been there forever. Yeah, so I think that I think it's important to have a community event, if you like. And in the old days, they also had a athletic competition, like the ball tournament, or 2 teams or 3 teams would come and play off.
Okay.
Weird. We haven't done that until, but that's how it sort of started, you know.
Yeah, and I remember saying like they did like gymkhana and stuff.
Yes.
Before. Do you still do those sorts of things or no?
The horse events we haven't had for a couple of years now. They've really dropped off. We'd like to sort of bring them back in again.
Okay.
Yeah, really happen. It's difficult at a fair, at a horse competition. You're the focus, you're the only thing happening. At a fair, you're sort of squeezed into a schedule. Some horse rider combinations can cope and others cannot.
Fair.
With disastrous results.
Oh no.
But the heavy horse pull is still it's a lot of fun. It still brings a lot of folks in. The Parade of Power, the tractors, the old antique machinery, again, that's pulls at that crowd. I just love that, to listen to these tractors. Pop, pop, pop. And we had forestry, or we had logging sports, axe throwing, sawing, hand saws, crosscuts. Because this is all part of this community here, they all know all about that. So it was an important part. So that's great. Thanks.
Perfect.